Okay, hello everyone. Welcome to Detego Video Job Queues. We're going to look at in this video one of the main key features of Detego. It's a huge feature actually, and if you work in a lab or you have backlogs or any of this sort of side, then this is going to be a critical feature for you. And to me, it really is the pinnacle so far, the evolution of Detego and where it's got to for our lab style clients. Obviously, we're extremely well known for our rapid first responders, our military side. A lot of our law enforcement agencies were asking us to see if we could put some of the methodologies that we were using on the rapid exploit for the special operations teams into the lab side, because time's still important and backlogs are growing, and lack of experienced investigators and all the issues that you're all fully aware of. So I've started up our Detego Analyse. Hopefully from the other videos you're familiar with this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just quickly jump up to this little cog at the top right, which is our settings. And within here we have one called Job Queues. So Detego evolution of our profile format for field, but coming into the lab side now. So within here, you can see that I've already got job queues in. So I decided for my narcotics investigations, these 17 jobs are what I would normally get my best results from. My ICAC investigations level 1, if I want a reasonably fast look at the different devices that are coming in with a high probability of success, then I'm going to run this case. You could have multiple options so that inside there you have a quick investigation so that you can brief your commanders, your senior investigating officers, or indeed get enough evidence to request more time with the suspect or whatever it may be. And then you could run a full deep dive investigation. So if we take a step back, I'm going to go home. If you remember, all of our cases, all of our evidence, all of our devices, exhibits, go into analyze and manage here into these folders. So if I click into these folders, each one of these would be a case. Or a top level folder. You clearly manage it how you like. And within those, you can have many multiple devices. Again, Detego is agnostic in the sense of, doesn't matter to me if I'm looking at a thumbstick, a hard drive, an iPhone, an Android. We get these broken down little tablet areas that start to become familiar to us really quickly to find the key data that we want as investigators, fast and easy. Okay. Now, in order to get this key data, obviously forensic processes need to have been run against that exhibit. And this can be quite intensive and quite manually intensive on investigators. So what we've done here is we've given you the ability to create your own investigations to run automatically. Can't teach experience. So again, once it's run, you can go back in and it will take you to the most likely key areas of information that you've asked to expedite your investigations and the results that you're after. So let's have a look at that. I'm inside my new job queue. Over here on the left, this is my panel for what I can select from. Over here on my right is the job queue builder, if you like. So this is how I build my profile. Up the top here, I've got acquire, process, report, and export. These are just different options that I can pull into my left screen to choose from. And it makes sense in the order that they are in right now, except a couple of things like report, and we'll look at that in a second. So it might be that any evidence or device that comes into the lab, I decide the first thing I've got to do via my SOPs within my organization is I have to take a full forensic image. And I need to verify that image for the judge. Remember, all our full audit trail happens for your forensic management across this. So it collects all the data on what happened, when, and who did what, and so on and so forth. So within here, after the forensic imaging, I then might go on and say, okay, do a logical extraction. Now, each one of these jobs, a little bit like media acquisition, if you've watched that video, we have a little concertina piece, which gives us more advanced options within that. So we can start being quite specific. Or I can just say, take all the logical data out of this device or image or whatever it is I happen to have attached or asking the software to run against. Within here, just to have a quick look at that, we can header check from here. We can add keywords from any of my keyword lists. So I'm going to select a couple in here. We can add our hash data sets again. And the good thing about this, like our media acquisition, means that it is going to lifetime alert me with these as well. So even though it's a profile, it's automated and it's going to run to completion in the lab, even while it's running it, I can review that lifetime. So I don't need to, I can fire and forget. I can get it all running, come back the next day and review it, but I can lifetime review it because it's going to be updating all the time if it was more time critical to you, say, for example. So it's just here to help you out. And of course, you can be as specific about the types of files, the date, times that you would like to go for, etc. So I'm just going to close that one. Then I'm going to go after the system profile. Again, it might be here that I'm looking for things in the running processes that might suggest they've been on the dark web, that they've got encryption or counter-forensic software. So we've talked about that before in one of the other videos. In fact, I'm going to push my system profile above my logical extraction. So even though you've selected them and dragged them across, you've still got the freedom. Of course, you can punch them back at any time. So on that, you're obviously smart enough to know what is a forensically heavier, longer process, etc. So in this case, I'm actually going to take out my imaging and I'm going to jump straight to report. So I'm doing the system profile and it's going to look for counter-forensic type stuff and my keywords linked to ICAC, for example. And then it's going to do a full logical extraction, and we've got the same kind of pieces coming across here. But what I would like now is just a quick report so that as my third job, it's done some of these tasks, I can now brief my senior investigating officer. I can maybe request further time with the suspect for a deeper dive and so on. Now, I'm going to switch back to our require. Now I'm going to take the full forensic image. And of course, you can set these profiles up however you want. And then I'm going to go for file carving. I'm going to match in the file carving for one of our hash data sets. I'm not going to put a timeout on. So again, these two might be quite intensive tasks that take a little while. Hence why I've put a quick report in as my third job so that I can actually get ahead of the game, start briefing my command where we need to go, or maybe charging the suspect, etc. That's pretty cool. That's awesome, right? But very similar to our media acquisition. But this is where it starts to get really interesting for our investigators or our lab side kind of piece. So I've now got all these analytical processes that I can add into this queue. And I can do it in any order I like, of course. So in my case, for this investigation, I'm going to say, well, any compound files, I want you to extract those and pull the data out of the compound zip files, whatever it is, and put that into my investigation. And I'm going to choose to do that here so that my other analytical processes will affect that data. Again, we've got a concertina with loads of options within there. I'm not going to break every single one of these down for you. That will be in another video on the analytics of Detego. After that, I'm then going to ask for all the EXIF data out of everything to be pulled. That's all the camera, make, models, GPS locations, sometimes the author, email addresses, etc. It will pass all that data out and make it searchable for us. I'm going to ask for header checking to be run. So this is where it checks a document as a document, a picture as a picture, and so on. And it will alert us if it finds a mismatch, i.e. a low level, I say low level, it tends to happen at more the lower levels, but in counter-terrorism or indeed ICAC or IOC investigations, the counter-pedophile stuff, might be that they've tried to hide an image as a Word document. So that if anybody tries to open it, the computer says no, it doesn't open. They just change the extension and it opens up. See that a little bit less now, but it's still there, and you can still catch suspects out with that one. So we've got that kept in there as well. So I'm now going to pull any RAM that we had, and I'm going to pass that, and that will give us things like searches if they've cleared their internet history. It will give us email addresses, credit card numbers, and a top few of the pieces without needing to go out and do a whole separate RAM course. It's automated for us. If I had an image, I could verify that image at any point. I can analyze the app data. So obviously on a computer, that's going to be Google, Internet Explorer, Opera, these kind of things, Skype. On the phones, it's going to be WeChat, WhatsApp, Telegram, and so on. I'm now going to get the drone passing. So any DAT files, it will pass these out and it will map those for us. I'm going to do some basic steganography and triage, so it'll pull the files that it believes may have some steganography within them. What I'm also going to do is run my photo DNA. So photo DNA is a really interesting one again. I won't go into it too much here because you're going to have another video on that. But this enables us, if we have, for example, mainly for our law enforcement clients, if you find a image, let's call it an indecent image of a child, and you run your photo DNA, it's going to find similar pictures to that one, but it's also going to find one, let's say the pedophile was smart enough to edit that image so it changes the forensic hash, photo DNA will still find it. That can be the same if it's sent over different apps that dynamically resize and change the fundamental fingerprint, the hash of that file. This will still find it for you. And you'll see some great examples of that in another video. Text analytics is going to run across all of the text in here. It's going to put documents into language order. It's going to put some sentiment analysis in there, etc. I'm going to come down. Now I'm going to run my video frame processing. So this splits the videos into small chunks, set to 20 seconds, but we can edit that how we like. Then I'm going to run my picture and video analytics. So Detego has a powerful AI that can run within this system for you. It's going to do skin detection, object detection, face detection, people. Again, you can be selective about the types of objects you would like the AI to classify for you. You can also up your percentage of fidelity. So for example, if I had the percentage up really high, I'm going to get less results, but with a higher confidence. If I drop it lower, I'm going to get more results to review with a lower confidence. So we'll include all the high confidence, obviously, dropping all the way back down. So this is user preference, really, and depending on your investigation. So for example, if I was looking for weapons and I had the percentage up extremely high, it's going to find all the obvious weapons for me as the AI goes through all the images. If there was potentially a weapon that was obscured and maybe the lens was blurry or something like this, then it might miss it because you're asking it to find weapons with a high percentage of probability. If that was potentially a concern for me, then I could drop this down more, which means I'm going to get a few more false positives. But that's fine, because I can review them and only tag the ones that are of interest to me. Detego is very good at taking, or as a company, we're very good at taking the best of breed from other groups. So as you know, we've integrated exclusively with Hancom to pull in their mobile phone exploitation technology, unlocking Samsung S9s and things like this, which is great. And integrating that into our whole system. Well, we've done the same here with passware. So we've taken the best of breed for encryption and decryption technology. So we can ask it to identify encrypted files and try and unlock those for us as well, which is brilliant. What does that mean to you? Well, you also get standalone passware within your system. So you get the full flexibility and freedom to utilize that as you may as a senior investigator standalone. But because we've integrated it, we're able to have that in our automated job queue. So again, here, if you find locked zip files, Word documents, and things like that, it's going to start running an attack against those to open those up for us. And then I'm going to run my optical character recognition. Now, actually, I forgot to put that in, so I'm going to move it up. I want that to run before it runs my file detection. So OCR, as you know, it's going to look at words that are inside a photograph. So normal technology might not find them because they're not searchable words, right? They're pixels on a picture. Just like the police would do on your car, they'd pull out on the ANPR, they'd pull out your reg plate when the camera flashes to say you're speeding. It will take a photo of your reg plate and it will convert those pixels into searchable text. This is what we're doing, but to a whole nother level. And we're also able to do that across the videos because we've run our video analytics. So again, super powerful. And then finally, I'm going to ask it to do a Detego report. And this report is one that you can edit to how you like to have your reports configured. And then finally, because I know I'm going to give this to another investigator, I can create an export package to export that data out to another user. Then I can just save that. I can save it under any of the profiles that I've created. So it might be under my counter-terror profiles. I'd build 5 different versions of this for how I like to investigate. Or I can create a new one and have it standalone. I'm going to put this in our counter-terror profile, and I'm just going to call it Investigation CT2. So now, if I come into my counter-terror profiles, you can see I've got full investigation here, and then I've got quick scan investigation, and I've got investigation CT2. So it might be that as I'm scanning all the different machines, let's say at the airport or in the lab or whatever it is, I just have my quick scan run for 2 jobs. Gives me a quick indication, do I want to spend more time on this, or do I want to move on if I'm under time pressures, let's say. If I do get a hit, then I might just automatically move on and run my deep dive investigation, which you've just seen. So that's pretty awesome. If you work in a lab or you've got backlogs, I would suggest that this is probably extremely interesting for you. Again, you don't need to manually go through this each time. Once it's set up to how you want it, it's set up. Just as a reminder what this is doing for you, we're going to go into edit, and I'm going to look at it. So we're going to take the system profile. Each one of these, remember, has a little breakdown. I'm not going to go into it this time. System profile, logical extraction, quick report, imaging, carving, compound file extractor, EXIF processor, file header check-in, RAM parser, app analyzer, drone parsing, steganography, photo DNA, text analytics, video frame processing, AI picture and video analytics, optical character recognition, encrypted file detector, encrypted file unlocker, Detego report, and Detego export. Bang. All those 21 jobs are just going to run in one sequence for me. It is absolutely awesome, in my opinion. Of course, once you've done that, and once you run it across a device, or multiple devices at once, actually, you've seen in our media acquisition, I think on the video, we ran 5 or 6 devices all attached at once, all imaging, all logical in, all carving, and we can do the same with our job queues. So although I've set that up, I could attach 5, 6 devices now and have them all running at once. It just depends how powerful my laptop is or my lab system is and how many ports, etc. that I've got. Once that's completed, of course, you need to go into your cases. Remember, this is where they all reside. And then you can just review all of your tabs. So all the data will be passed out now. All the AI is run in the background and so on. You'll now have all your OCR done. You'll have your photo DNA done. And then as an investigator, it's not wasting your time. You can come in and just start reviewing what you need. So again, it's another video, but as a quick tease, we can see here, this has got all the, actually 100,000 plus files. So how do I navigate through that? Well, all the hard work, or a lot of the hard work's been done for me. So in this case, I think the individual was let me just have a look at our jobs, actually. Bravo 1 at suspect at Heathrow. So I've actually run some of these jobs. Excuse the terrorist funding cell down the bottom. And I'm just going to jump into all files. So within here, you can actually see the difference now. When I add my filter, I've now got one called classification. I didn't have that in that last example, which I didn't mean to show, but actually it's quite helpful we have. Because the AI hadn't run, because I hadn't done that job queue against that data set, I didn't have this option. But because we've run this now on this particular piece of evidence, the AI has identified aeroplanes, ammunition, bikes, boats, bombs, bus, cannabis, car, faces, girls, grenades, license plates, so on and so forth. So within here, it doesn't show the whole list of everything that the AI can find. It just shows what it has found in that investigation. So in this case, I'm going to go to rifles, going to go to long guns, going to go to launcher, and there's a whole nother lecture on this kind of piece. and then I'm just going to apply. But it's just to show you now that within here, this is where it has started to show and break down all that AI that was run in our job queues. So again, in this case, it's found a launcher. With a reasonably high confidence. It's also actually interestingly here that this would have come up as a drone. So the AI has looked at this and put a low percentage chance of it also being a drone. Because of course, it's looking for key indicators of what it thinks. So that's a good example of how you can use your fidelity. But the software is smart enough, it will do many multiple within one picture. So it might find person and weapons and guns and drugs all in one piece for you. So I'm not going to go into those any further because, like I say, that's another lecture. So in a quick summary to where we are so far, you can come in, you can go to your cog, and you can build new job queues. Everything you do on the left, you push across to the right, and this will start to build the queue for how you like to investigate, from extraction through to analysis, reporting, and exporting. Once you've done that, you have these pre-baked into your system as profiles that you can use at any time. So again, now I'm just away to knock off for the day. An individual comes in, there's 5 devices have just been brought in, or I've just got a big backlog and I want to get the next 5 up and running. I'm going to go into my acquired media. I've actually got my auto detect on. So I'm going to click home and I'm just going to insert the first drive or whatever that device happens to be. You can see we get our automatic drop down like we do from media acquisition. But this time, instead of using the sort of basic quick options, I want the full investigation, right? So I'm just going to go to run after. I'm going to go to my counter-terror profile and the one we just created, which was CT2. And I'm just going to ask it to run that profile for me. So you can see here, it's taken me straight into my cases. We've got a new folder that's appeared. The little running wheel which lets us know it's working. Up here, you can see that it's working as well. If I come into the device or the exhibit, you can see that it's already done the system profile because there wasn't any. So that's a really good example. In this case, we put system profile in because we don't know if it's a computer or a thumbstick or what we're going to be plugging in, right? So in this investigation, it happened to be a USB stick that I've plugged in, so it's ignored the system profile. It's gone, yeah, there's not one there. It doesn't have a system profile, but it's already running through the logical extraction. And even though it's going to do all these jobs here, like we said before, it gives me the ability early on to start my investigation quickly. It's given me a highlight of what it's finding already. If I want to go to the full exhibit content, then it's already started passing out the data for me. These tabs will continue to increase as it moves through the various jobs that you created, that you asked it to do. And again, the types of data you're going to find are going to be highlighted much quicker for you. Pretty good. And just to highlight one of the other benefits of that, you're not limited to how many you can run other than your ports and the power of your system. So in this case, I'm going to run a counter-narcotic internet crimes against children on my second device, and I'm going to have that case running now. Then I'm going to find another investigation has been put on my desk, along with a fresh cup of coffee, hopefully. Again, it doesn't matter what page I'm in. The drop down takes preference. It comes over the top. I'm going to run this time. Let's go with Galvatron. And let's start that one. So now you can see, a little bit like our media acquisition that we had before, I've now got 3 different devices all running through multiple jobs. So I'm just going to get this little window out of the way, because you can have 17 different tasks all running, and then this will fill up most of your screen. It's just to let you know where you're at. So we can just click that out of the way. You can also see my drive is actually fairly full, so I could do with adding a new case drive actually. And this is brilliant. So here, even while it's going through the logical extraction, it's alerting me that it's found keywords and it's found hash matches already, even before it's completed all the other jobs. Lifetime as it's going through, it's letting me know what it's up to.